Hi, I'm Jim of Bored and Retired, and today I'm going to show you some comic books I have just recently read. And as promised, here are my recently read comic books. This is Superman and Action Comics 683, going up against the Jackal. It's just a misunderstood revenge story. The Jackal's a female taking revenge on some other people that have harmed her in the past. But the big thing in this book, at the very end, the last page, we get to see Doomsday's hand. And then we have Action Comics number 724. Some monsters have escaped and Superman's going around collecting them. So, not much else happening in that one. Then we have an annual for Action Comics number 5, part of the Bloodline series. These are like monsters from outer space. They usually kill a human, but in this case, humans that survive, they inherit some sort of mutation, and we get our first one in this one, Savage Gun or something like that. Loose Cannon, that's what it is. Not bad. Love Superman, great artwork in here. Then we have Action Comics 480, Dial H for Hero. Not a fan of this series, but it's Action Comics. Give it a shot, and just teenagers or kids transforming into some sort of superheroes to take on some sort of evil menace. Not much of anything. But we have Adventures of Superman 481. Cool cover with Superman flying past a subway train that's full of skeletons. Well, these skeletons, there's 6 carloads of them. A lot of death in this one. And Superman almost captures the person. And of course, it's Parasite. Doesn't capture him because in the next issue, 482, he gets to fight Parasite. A pretty good issue. Liked it. Then the next one's Adventures of Superman 518. It's part of the 0 Hour storyline where Superman is bouncing back and forth in times, it looks like. And in this one, it's the Alpha Centaurian that ends up in Metropolis, and Lois Lane falling in love with him. So he's in a different alternate timeline with the Alpha Centaurian as the hero of Metropolis and Lois Lane. Then we have Adventures of Superman 517, Death Trap. This is setting up a new villain called Death Trap, and he does Death Trap, obviously. That's what he calls his name. Has something attached to Superman, and Superman has to fly around and get rid of it, and eventually he does. And Death Trap is out there still. Then we have Adventures of Superman 537. Monsters have escaped from Star Labs, and he's out collecting all the monsters as best as he can. The next set of comic books is all lumped together in the Badger series. I never collected a Badger series until March of this past year. My son Nick and my grandson Preston, we all went to Southern California comic books, and they had comic books, dollar comic books, about 50 of them. They were alphabetized. I was in heaven. Unfortunately, a 6-year-old running around a comic book store is not a good thing. Eventually, my son Nick came up to me and said, "Dad, I think we got to pay for this." Preston had picked up a Badger comic book and had ripped the cover. And that was like $6 or something like that. I said, "Okay, I'll get it." And I only spent like $50 here, so most of it was on this one magazine. So I decided, when I got home, I decided to read it, and I really enjoyed it. You got a crazy guy, 4th or 6th century druid in somebody else's body and doing magic, and they're teaming up together. One becomes a billionaire, the other one becomes like his personal bodyguard. And this one is Badger from First Comics Deluxe series. Ham, the druid, is off to, I believe it's France, and they're looking for truffles, so they have to get the pigs that hunt for truffles, and it's a big contest, and other billionaires don't want Ham to win, so there's altercations in it. Next one is Badger Saves the World. Really can't remember nothing of that one. And same with this one, Badger Shattered Mirror. And then I have Badger from Dark Horse Comics. And there's, this is first issue of 2. I like to get the second issue. It was a fun read. Unfortunately, I collected a second one at the same time. Got to be more attentive. Then I have a Badger facing off against some more monsters. This is a black and white one. Then I have a Badger, another First Comics, number 54. And it looks like Ham is going to be sacrificed unless Badger gets there in time. And then the only Badger I have not liked is this one from Image Comics, number 10. It's in black and white. And the storyline is a little weird. The owl swallows some jewels. Some bad guys want to get the owl, kill it, and get the jewels out of it. But of course, Badger's a friend to it, and there's a big battle with other people coming in. Let me grab these and put them down. Still got quite a few to go through. This is Bloodbath number 2, Missing Bloodbath number 1. This is the conclusion of the Bloodline stories, and all the people that survived the attacks from the aliens and have been mutated into these new superhumans end up helping the Justice League and all the other DC heroes defeat this giant monster. Then I have an old Brave and the Bold DC Comics with Whitman. And I don't see the issue number. So we'll just show right here. It's a team up with Batman and Supergirl. Can't really remember anything about that one. So we'll skip to the next one. This is from Defiant Comics called The Good Guys. There's like 5 issues in this series. I got all 5. Decided to read this one. A bunch of teenagers going to a comic book store. A lot of inside jokes about artists of the comic book industry at the time. And Mile High Comics is the place they go to in Los Angeles or San Diego, wherever it was. And they all make wishes while this kid's walking by with a magic box. And eventually they all gain these superpowers because they said they wish they could do this and wish they could do that. And not much of a story. I'm sure it gets better, hopefully. But I read in the back where people had a contest back in like 1990, whenever this came out. And they sent in their ideals, and then they, Defiant made comic book heroes based upon them or what they look like, what that powers they wanted. Interesting. I have Hulk versus Hercules. It's a one-shot. And basically it's one of the newer Hulks. And it's a Hulk battle versus Hercules. And Athena is telling a story about Hercules and the Hulk facing off up in Asgard. And then they have an old reprint for a second backup story in this one. It was alright. First story wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, as this cover shows. But the second one, the reprint, was good. The next one is from Eagle Comics, Judge Dredd number 4. And this had a unique superhero, well, I'm saying supervillain. He looked like a plant man, and Judge Dredd had to stop him. But the monsters that were coming out of this guy eventually took over and fixed the situation. And now we have the New Warriors, issue number 7. You know, in the early stages, they like to throw in characters of Marvel into these comic books. And as you can see in the background, the Punisher is going to pop up in this one. So in this one, we have young Night Thrasher versus the Bingle. And she's after the girlfriend that he wants to have as a girlfriend and trying to protect her. And at the very end, the Punisher shows up. He doesn't care about the Bengal. He's more worried about his girlfriend that he's protecting. So Night Thrasher and the Punisher, I guess in the next issue, will face off against each other. Then there's Power Man and Iron Fist, and they're facing off against the local mafia. It's a nice story. Continues in number 62. And number 63. Classic Marvel, some strong person holding up a mountain or a whatever. In this case, you got Luke, he's holding up a beam while Iron Fist goes and rescues one of Luke's friends. Then I have Quasar, number 5, from the Axe of Vengeance, where he goes up against the Absorbing Man. This has to be the most polite superhero as he tries to bring in the Absorbing Man. And unfortunately, the Absorbing Man does what he does. He absorbed Quasar's power, and anybody that has Quasar's power before Quasar usually blew up, and he's trying to tell this guy he's going to blow up, and the guy didn't listen to him, obviously. And the Absorbing Man blew up, but I'm sure he's out there somewhere now. Then I have Robin, 4-issue miniseries. This is number 3. Has a little hologram on it. I like it. And this is the first time Robin goes after the Joker by himself. And the Joker is thought he had killed Robin, and he's trying to figure out who this Robin is and where Batman is. So this is a story between Robin and the Joker. We have Superman number 59. In this one, Lois and Clark, Superman, get away to talk about their future life, what they think is going to be like. A little storyline in there. And then we're doing Superman number 82. It's a story from the reign of the Superman. And Superman's back, and he's going up against the bad cyborg Superman. Then we have Superman 92. Looks like an alien taking him on. Might be coming close to when he was being arrested by aliens and put on trial for something or other. And then we have Superman 95. And this is about Brainiac. Trying to capture Brainiac. They go to the home world of the new gods. And the Atom hitches a ride trying to figure out something or other. Not much of a story. This is Superman 15, and this is when Lois Lane decides to leave Superman. Let's take these down without knocking everything down. And this is an older Superman, number 349. The cover says it all. You got Superman going against Superwoman, Supergirl, who's now Superboy, and Wonder Woman, who is now like, I guess, Wonder Man or something like that. I'm so glad they put white tights on him instead of the Wonder Woman's uniform. It's a typical story about Superman coming back to Metropolis, but everything is different, and he has to figure out why. And I'm safe to say, I even figured it out. It was a good story. Then we have the Superman, the Man of Steel, number 3. His parents are on a trip with Perry White and his wife in this touristy trap area. And somebody brings to life the god of the Aztecs. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the guy's name. It's also from the War of the Gods series. It's all right, pretty good. This one, excuse me, is Superman 16. And in this one, a neighbor is a bad man, getting fired from his job, and he's always abusing his wife. And Superman tries to break it up, and the police come, and she's so terrified of her husband, they blame Superman, and he's got to leave. So Clark Kent in his room can hear them arguing, bickering, and fighting, and he's trying to figure out what he can do to stop the situation. So I need to find the next issue to see how he does it, because in the first Action Comics ever, one of his little subplots in the beginning was that he stopped a man from beating his wife, basically by picking him up, threatening him that he would do worse to him. And now, many years later, they revisit this in a more realistic life way. Superman, Man of Steel, number 53. You got Bibbo, or however you want to call him, and he does hit Superman, but Superman wasn't aware of it. So it's just a little story about Bibbo had his shot at becoming the champion, and then a manager that used to work with him tries to talk him into going back into the ring. Superman 59. The Parasite is back. And of course, Superman has to come in and somehow win. I'm a big Tarzan fan. And so whenever I get a Tarzan, I pick him up. We have Tarzan the Untamed, number 252. And this book, basically, he comes back to his house in the jungle. And Jane looks like to be burnt to a crisp because, again, I identified the wedding ring on her finger. So, and this is set during the First World War, I believe. And he's going after the Nazis. Could be the Second World War. It's actually the Germans. I should look that up and see which one it is. It's probably the First World War. And Tarzan has adventures getting rid of the Germans in that one. And it's a continuation of the story in number 254. And this blonde woman is a spy for the Germans, and she's falling in love with Tarzan. But of course, as we know, Jane's somewhere out there, and he'll eventually find her. I am a big Warlock fan, so I have Warlock and the Infinity Watch I read. This is basically Warlock on trial with all the super beings, and they're trying to stop him because he has all the power. And he says he knows how to manage it. So, he has a fight with all of them and wins. And then in the second book of Warlock Infinity, he finds some people for his plan to give each one of them one of the gemstones. So, from the Infinity Gauntlet. Alright, and then we have the Warlord from DC Comics, number 76. And this one is just a typical sword and sorcery thing with some bullets. I like the Warlord, but there was nothing really outstanding in this one. And then the last comic book I'll show today that I have read was Wonder Man number 1. And of course, like I've said previously, I'm a big Wonder Man fan and thoroughly enjoy it. And I was lucky that there is still the free poster inside when I picked this up. Well, I thank you for watching Bored and Retired, part of the DCP Network.